So right on the screen, I have the Adani Total Gas Limited's Business Responsibility and Sustainability Report, the BRSR report for the year 2023 and 2024. So it was published back in 2024. That contains the reporting period 2023. Now, we'll try to see what we are trying to automate with CarbonOps, a certain segment of this particular report. So each and every BRSR report has a segment in which they report on the material issues that were identified for the organization. So similarly, in this report, if you search for material issues, you land on this table. So this is the table in which they report on all the material issues that were identified. So they also need to report on what were the material issues that belonged to the environment and the social sector, whether that material issue was a risk or opportunity, what was the rationale behind identifying the issue as risk or opportunity, and if in case it was a risk, what are the mitigation and adaptation strategies that they could follow or they are already following, and the financial implications of the material issue that was identified as a risk or opportunity. Now you have to construct a table like this. So similarly, they constructed this particular table with topics such as energy and emissions management. So that's an environment related topic. It was identified as a risk. Climate change adaptation and mitigation, again, that's an environment related topic which was identified both as a risk as well as an opportunity. Human rights, so that's a social topic. Product availability, that's also uh, I think that sits at the intersection of social as well as environment topic, because that has something related to gas, which is a fossilized fuel. Then training and development, that's a social aspect. Employee health and safety and well-being, that's also social aspect. So you do have to generate a table like this to report or to prepare your BRSR report, and that's the exact part that we're trying to automate with the version 1 of the BRSR toolset of the CarbonOps environment. So up until now, that's what we are trying to automate, and that's what this entire video is going to be fixated on. So with this video, we'll be exploring the entire BRSR section in detail, which is going to help you with the materiality assessment part of BRSR reporting for your client. So the first step is all about generating topics. So BRSR, unlike ESRS, has given the free will to the companies to themselves decide what topics do they disclose on in the materiality assessment horizon. So first of all, you need to generate topics, and that too only in the environmental and the social section, because that's what the implementation guideline of BRSR suggests. So to generate these topics, I'm going to first of all go to the BRSR topic generator. That's like the first tab, and then select my client and click on generate topics. So in the back end, our AI engine is going to analyze the industry and the specific details about our client, and then generate what it thinks might be material topics or topics that might be taken into consideration for materiality assessment, both in the environmental and the social section. So in the environmental section, you have topics like GHG emissions reduction, renewable energy usage, energy efficiency, green data centers, electronic waste management, and all the way to something like environmental risk assessment and sustainable product design. And in the social aspect, you have topics ranging from employee diversity and inclusion, digital accessibility, privacy and security, all the way to customer satisfaction and ethical marketing. Now, if you would like a particular topic to not be considered for materiality assessment, you can click on that so that it gets unselected. But for you to be able to select that back again, you can click on it again and it gets selected. Now, I would like all of these topics to be included in materiality assessment, so I'm not going to ignore anything. Now, after you're done, you need to save these topics for further analysis in your database. So you scroll down and click on save selected topics, and it's going to save these topics for further analysis. Now comes step 2, which is the major part, and that part is about doing materiality analysis according to the implementation guidelines that's published by the BRSR implementation guidance document. So for that, we'll go to the second tab, which is BRSR materiality analysis. So select your client and click on fetch topics. So it's going to fetch those topics that were saved earlier as part of step number 1. So you could see I have topics in the environmental section as well as in the social section. So let's say I want to generate analysis for the topic renewable energy usage. Now, according to BRSR document and implementation guideline, a topic can either be a risk or an opportunity. Now, in case of being a risk, you also need to provide adaptation and mitigation strategies. But if it's an opportunity, the adaptation and mitigation strategy column could as well remain blank because that's an opportunity. No adaptation or mitigation strategy to be applied. It's only applied if it's a risk. And then you need to generate an analysis that tells whether it's an actual or potential risk or opportunity, the rationale behind it, the financial implications, the adaptation or mitigation strategies in case it's a risk, the period, whether it's a short term, medium term, or a long term risk or opportunity, the value chain, whether it sits in the upstream processes with your suppliers as part of your own activities or as downstream processes concentrated with your end consumers and end product users. And then, because we are an audit first platform, we'll also be giving you citations that were used in generating these analysis uh, and values so that everything traces back to the grounding knowledge data and the source data. So I'm going to go ahead and generate analysis for renewable energy usage. And that's it, just with the help of this button. Now imagine having to do this sort of thing for each and every topic. It's it's not good position to be in unless and until you have something like carbon ops at your fingertips. And yeah, so there you go, you get analysis generated for your topic renewable energy usage. So it's identified as being an actual opportunity, and the rationale behind why it identified this as an actual opportunity is also given. So it says renewable energy usage presents a strategic opportunity for Microsoft to achieve its carbon negative goal by 2030, enhance its leadership in clean energy markets, and support decarbonization across its own operations, supply chain, and customer base. The company's significant investments in power purchase agreements, PPAs for short, supplier engagement programs, and AI driven energy solutions enable it to scale renewable energy adoption and foster innovation in energy systems. So that's the rationale. Now let's go ahead and take a look at financial implications. So these are the financial implications. So it reads, transitioning to renewable energy reduces long-term operating costs, mitigates exposure to carbon pricing and regulatory risks, and enhances access to green financing. Because it's an actual opportunity, there's no adaptation or mitigation strategy, so that's a blank column. Now let's take a look at period. So it's identified as being a short, medium, and long-term opportunity, and same goes the rationale behind it or the narrative that you could see on your screen. Similarly, as part of the value chain, this is an opportunity that's identified in all the three parts of the value chain: upstream, downstream, as well as own activity. And that's the rationale or the narrative behind the identification in this way. Similarly, we have the citations. Because we are an audit first platform, this forms a very decisive part of everything that we do at code. So if you click on view citations, this is going to help you trace back the information, everything back to those documents that you uploaded as part of the entire corpus of grounding knowledge earlier for the client that you're generating materiality and assessment for. And once that's done, once you're happy with everything, if you aren't, well, you can regenerate things. But if you're happy with everything, you can click on the save button, and you should do that for each topic that you generate a materiality assessment for, and that gets saved in the database. Similarly, you would go about hitting the generate analysis button and hitting the save button for each of these environmental as well as social topics. Now once that's done, we can go to the third step, that is downloading everything in an exportable CSV format so that you could share it between your colleagues or even consultants that you're working with. So I'll go to the third tab, which is materiality results fetcher. There you go. You go ahead and select your client that you saved your assessments for and click on fetch materiality assessment result. So it gives you everything in an exportable CSV format, ranging all the way from the topic to the citations also. And if you click on export to CSV, it's going to download the CSV file for you that you could share with your colleagues or even export everything to a business intelligence reporting tool like Power BI, so on and so forth. That's pretty much it. That was all about seeing the BRSR toolset in action across the CarbonOps universe. In the next couple of videos, we'll be covering the ESRS reporting toolset that Carbon Ops has to offer in great depth and detail.